This is an initial video on an install and operation of a RoadFox Ag Otter spray computer system. This system was just installed. I'm going to go over real quick what it is and then get into its basic operation. So this is our Raven 4600 that is pretty typical in most of our trucks as a spray computer. The Raven 4600 integrates with the truck on this 37-pin round connector. So normally these are mounted right here in the cab of the truck, and all of your operations are done and displayed here on this screen. With the install of a RoadFox, we are doing away with this unit and disconnecting the 37-pin connector, which is right here, that goes into the back of it. And we are now, here, can you hold the camera? And we are now connecting it into the RoadFox harness, which I need to get aligned. Oh, come on now. There we go. Okay, that hooks into the RoadFox harness, and that harness, if you follow it, we don't have it tucked away real well here, but that harness just simply comes right up here onto the rear of the cab and hooks into our Ag Otter unit and to our RoadFox unit. Okay, so in this case, as just a quick easy install, we're just kind of stuffing the wiring harness down in between the seat here to have it kind of tucked away out of the way. Okay, a couple of things to note. There is a power button here on the face of the RoadFox unit right here, that if the unit doesn't seem to want to turn on, you may want to take a look at that. Okay, so I'm going to pass this thing right out of here. This thing becomes obsolete. We're not going to be using it at all. And now when I start the truck up here, maybe, I had a blue flashing light and a red light here. That is an indication that the Ag Otter is in fact powered up, and then the RoadFox gets powered up by that toggle switch that's right there on the side of it. So if the toggle switch gets left in the on position, then everything will turn on when you turn the ignition of the vehicle on. So we now have, I don't know if you can see it in the camera here with that light on. Yeah, you can see it blinking a little bit. So we've got a blue light there on the dash. That's indicating that the RoadFox is in fact operational, and we have an LED light back here knowing that it's operational. So from there, I can fold the seat up and it just kind of covers that all up behind there. And from here, we're going to start utilizing this on the iPad. You guys see the iPad halfway decent? So this is an iPad interface. So the RoadFox is the hardware in the truck, and the RoadFox is hardwired to all of our booms, our flow meters, our flow valves, all that kind of stuff is happening here in the truck. This is the brains of the operation, and this is Bluetooth connected to any iPad, any iPhone, any Apple device of any sort. The Apple device merely acts as a screen and a control panel for the, come on around to the side here now. The iPad merely acts as a control screen. Let's switch to the other side so we're not listening to the exhaust. Come over to this side so we're not listening to the exhaust. You're not unhooking the battery, right? Okay. So when we open up our iPad, and again, any Apple device will work. So if your iPad is broke or missing or dead, you can use an iPhone for this same purpose. All right, I'm going to look for the Ag Otter app, and you can download the Ag Otter app at the App Store. when I open it up, it says it sees Ag Otter 2267 and Road Fox 85. And I'm not sure why it's seeing both of them. That might be from another install from the other day. So if I take a look at this Ag Otter, the serial number is 2267. Okay? So the serial number on this one is 2267. So I will click on that one. That's the one that I want to connect to. All right. What we could do is rename this truck number, which is what we should do. But I'm not sure how to do that yet. So just a quick overview of this screen. Okay. It's going to show you where you are on a map. All right. Eventually, we'd like it to give navigation on that map, which is coming someday. Okay. Some of the things that you can see right off the bat is it says that you're driving 0 miles an hour. You've treated 0 acres, fill tank 600 gallons. Okay. So if I say fill tank, well, yeah. Okay. We can change it in the screen. Down here on the bottom, 1, 2, 3, 4, all the way up to 10, or actually up to 12 in this case. So we need to set this Ag Otter up. So what I'm going to do is up here in the corner, I'll go to setup. You don't have to do this every time. This is just getting it initially set, how it's going to run. Okay. Control mode, turn off to allow monitor only. We want it to control our fluid, not just monitor our fluid. You can set this up to just monitor what's getting put out. We want it to control what's being put out. So we want that green light on all the time. Target rate is 50 gallons per acre. That's correct. Row width, it's showing us 24 feet. That's going to change when we change our boom sizes. Okay. Tank volume, 600 gallons. I'm going to change that, and I change it by just clicking on it, hitting backspace, typing 500, and hitting done. Okay. So now, you open that door so these fumes go on. So now our tank volume will show 500 gallons. Each time we fill the tank, if we just hit fill tank, it'll go back to 500 gallons. And as we use it, it will count down from 500 gallons. So if I hit back up here in the corner and hit fill tank, it took it back to 500 gallons. Okay, you got that? So back to my setup. Change alarms. I can go to change alarms. This is setting my alarm up. We want to spray at 10 miles an hour, and we want to be putting out 50 gallons an acre. So this system will alarm when we hit 10% of that, which is 45 gallons per acre or 55 gallons per acre. So if the system's putting out 45 gallons an acre, you'll get an alarm. If the system's putting out 55 gallons an acre, you'll get an alarm. If you're anywhere between 45 and 55, no alarms. That's where we want to be. And on our speed, if we're driving too fast, it'll alarm. If we're driving too slow, it'll alarm. Okay? All right, so not a lot of options here. We can put job notes. So we can put what product we're using, who the driver is, and so on. So if we want to make some notes here about this particular job, which we should do, you ought to go in here and at least put the date, where you were, what county you were working in, and things of that nature. Okay? Turn off to configure Ag Otter as a harvest monitor. Disregard that. That should be on all the time. We are a sprayer. We're not a harvest monitor. Okay? Now, on the advanced settings, when I go to advanced settings, I get a whole lot more stuff. Okay? Right off the bat, it says use 2 meters. Okay? What use 2 meters means is this thing has a flow meter in it to control what we're putting out. It also has the option to add a second meter. Okay? We could put that second meter on the handguns. Key back on. Thank you. You can smoke all day, but boy, you can't breathe any diesel fumes, huh?
I can't handle one in my eyes. It hurts.
The second meter can be used in order to monitor something else, but it won't control it. So for example, we could hook it to the handguns so that we can monitor how much fluid comes out of the handguns, but it won't control how much fluid comes out of the handguns, okay? Right now, we are only configured, time to get up? Right now, we are only configured, or your second alarm that you're late for work, one or the other?
Can you just continue, please? That's not a question.
Okay. Right now, we're configured to use only 1 meter. Our meter cal number is like what we used to use in the other trucks, except for it's much different in terms of a number. So the meter on this, the Raven meter cal number is 1400 or 1410. It's now 140. It's 10 times smaller than the Raven meter cal number. Okay. Speed measurement. We can pick wheel speed, GPS, or radar. We're picking GPS for now. Valve control aggressiveness, we set that all the way to the highest number, which it has a sliding scale here.
Always?
So far, always. Just slide it all the way over to the far right. What this does is it changes the voltage that gets sent to our flow valve to make it open or close. Mm-hmm. And I think, I don't know this, but I think that our flow valve requires 12 volts to open and close. And we found that our valve just doesn't really respond if this is down here low. If we have it down at 3 or 4 or something, our valves just don't respond. Okay, so just take it right to the high. It seems to work perfect when it's right up at the high. Okay. Valve return to tank. I think we can shut that off. Reversed valve cable. So the valve, this gets a little bit more complicated. And Mike, do you know, did this get wired so that the reversed valve cable should be activated or deactivated?
What does this one show right now?
We haven't done anything yet. It's right now it's showing reversed valve cable.
Yeah, you haven't done anything, but it saves it in the ECM. So whatever we set it at, it's going to save. So
okay.
Obviously it's reversed.
Okay. All right. So what this means is the flow valve has polarity ran to it to make it open or close. You put 2 wires to it, and when one wire has positive and one wire has negative, the valve closes. And when you switch those, the valve opens, okay? Well, if for some reason those wires got wired backwards, what would happen is when the system is supposed to give you less fluid, it would give you more fluid. And when it's supposed to give you more fluid, it would give you less fluid because the valve would be acting opposite what it's supposed to. What you can do is instead of cutting the wires and flipping them, you can just go into the settings, you can just reverse the valve, okay? And that will reverse how that works. We'll try it that way. If the computer if it doesn't work right when we do a calibration, we'll try changing that first to see if that fixes the problem, okay?
We don't have to tear apart as much shit to figure out why it's not working.
Correct. Maximum power setup, 100%. I don't know what that is, and we don't need to worry about it. So, primary boom setup. We are going to set up 10 booms, okay? And we'll leave the section widths right now at 2 feet per. Now that's a little different than what we have seen in the past because it normally measures in inches. We can go into the settings in this and change that to inches, but I'll leave it like this for now. So we're going to be using booms 9 and 10, I know. Boom 8, I think, is not utilized on this. Do we know for sure? Hey, Mike, do we know for sure the boom orientation on this for the back of the truck and stuff? Do we know what boom numbers flow the back and what the coverage all does and stuff? None of it's set up in here.
What are you doing? Setting this one up again?
I just turned it on and hooked to it. And it wasn't when I went to boom sections, when I went to section setup, this was turned off. That was the screen I had right there when I just opened this up. So I hit.
Well, they shouldn't have to do this every time.
Correct. But when I just opened it.
Well, my question is,
Okay. So primary boom profile, left or right. Okay. If you're spraying off the right side of the truck, you hit profile right, and then you can do a right offset of 5 feet. Okay. What that does is when it maps what you're spraying on a map, instead of it drawing a line down the road where you're driving, it will draw a line to the right of the vehicle 5 feet of where you're driving. So what we're doing is we're saying that the antenna is 5 feet to the left of where the spray pattern sits. So the profile right gives us the ability to offset to the right, and if we hit profile left, it's going to offset to the left of the truck depending on which side of the highway we're spraying on. Okay, does that make sense? So, and again, this, once we set this up once, we shouldn't have to set it up
I'm thinking
again.
it's because it went dead.
It could be. So number of sections is 10. So do we know, is booms 1 and 2 the rear booms, or we don't know?
Yeah, I mean, it should be exactly how we had it before.
I don't know what that was on this
No,
truck.
I'm just saying nothing should have changed from the prior set.
So when you set this truck up at calibration today, you're going to have to make sure that your booms across the back of the truck match these.
Yeah, because 9 and 10 were the front.
Right.
Yeah.
So 9 and 10 are set to 2 feet. Okay. Whatever runs across the back of the truck, if there's only 2 nozzles, they're going to have to be set to 4 feet each. I don't know which ones they are. Let's say for now, it's these ones, and that just set it to 42 feet, right? So I'll set it to 4 feet, enter. This one, 4 feet,
That's 24.
4 feet, enter, okay? Now, what would I want to do with these other ones? I'd want to hit 0, right? Here's the problem. See?
Won't go down to 0.
It won't go to 0. That's something that I think is going to get changed in the program eventually. But for right now, they're going to just drop to 0.5. That's the lowest they'll go. At least do that, because if one gets turned on accidentally,
It's not gonna waste a whole lot.
okay? And then what I would also recommend is we manually shut the valves off that you're not going to use, so that there's no chance that if you happen to bump the wrong switch,
It'll go off.
right? Your truck's a little harder to do because you don't have manual shut-off valves on each boom. Okay, so that sets up the sections. Let's come back. We're not going to worry about zone setup, pressure setup. Don't worry about sprayer measurements. So here's your antenna offsets that we just talked about. Okay, controller name. So this is called Ag Otter 2267. The 2267 is the last digits of the serial number of this Ag Otter unit. Okay. What I can do is I can delete this and change the name of this unit to Road Fox Truck 849, right?
Yeah.
So I'm going to say Road Fox 849, enter. Now, when you go to discover this on your Bluetooth, it's going to say Road Fox 849, right? So, in fact, you know what might make it even more obvious? Controller name. Oh, look, it just said 84. You know why? It won't take that many digits. So you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to call them truck. Should I put a smiley face?
I think you should.
Truck 849.
Yes.
Okay, you like that?
Yeah.
So now when it's discoverable, it's just going to say truck 849. You go, oh, that's the truck I'm using. You hit it, and it Bluetooth connects to it. Okay. Low flow setup. This is kind of a neat thing here. You know, on the Raven, when you would drive slow, the pattern would kind of go to hell because it was trying to cut it all the way down to 0, right? So you wouldn't have a pattern when you were trying to creep, and you couldn't help but creep. So you kind of like got into this weird thing. What you can do here is we can say, hey, never spray less than what it would give me at 3 miles an hour. Okay?
Yeah.
So when you do that, what'll happen is when you're driving 1 mile an hour, because that's as fast as you can go, this thing's going to spray at 3 miles an hour.
Good.
Right, so
It's over applying,
Yeah, instead of over. Yep.
but it gives you a pattern so you're able to deal with it. All right. time zone and canopy settings. So time zone is just what time zone are we in. Currently we're -4 hours EDT. And then canopy settings, what the canopy settings are is if you're using GPS and you go under a bunch of tree canopies and you lose your GPS signal, the computer goes, what do I do, right? So this is basically saying, hey, just maintain what we were doing previously.
So it is smart.
It is smart. Yep, okay. Now, when I go to diagnostics, that's my next screen. Let me back up to that. Let me back all the way out here, okay? So this setup button continues going deeper as you get into this, okay? So first I hit setup, okay? And it gives me my target rate, my width, and so on. Then I can go to advanced, okay? So that's like advanced setup, all right? Advanced setup now gives me my flow meter, my valve control aggressiveness, my GPS sensor, my section setups, all that, right? Now I can even go deeper to diagnostics. So when I go to diagnostics, there's a couple of things here. For a mechanic could come in here and manually open or close the valve with the iPad. So you can take the iPad, go out next to the valve, hit open, and you should hear the valve open. Hit close, and you should hear the valve close. That's good for diagnosing what's going on. There's going to be a big reason why you guys need to get into this page, and it's right here. Simulate speed. Self-test. Remember the old self-test? Put it in self-test. Now we have to go all the way in here, hit simulate speed, okay? And I have a plus and a minus.
That's for when it's on, I'm assuming.
Well, it's supposed to be on right now. Why is that not? Oh, you know what? I'll bet we lost connection when we shut the truck off. Let me back up and disconnect. And let's see what happens if I connect to this one.
Wow. We in a tree field?
Well, that's the simulation mode that it's in. So now I can go to diagnostics. Okay, so I just disconnected it and reconnected it, okay? The plus sign, I can take this up now. Can you run over there and have one of those guys get a battery charger on this? All right, it's hard to do with not holding this. All right, I can take this all the way up to 10 miles an hour. $10 an hour. Okay, there's my test speed, 10 miles an hour. All right, now when I back out, it is going to show me driving 10 miles an hour. Okay, so now let's run around here to the truck. Okay. We've got multiple different mount locations for this. Some people have liked it up here, so we'll see about that. So this particular truck has a mount here, has a mount here, and it has an option to have a mount here. Okay, just going to show you a couple things. So right now we're in test mode, 10 miles per hour, so it's showing our speed. Okay, when I turn a boom on, it will light up on the bottom of the screen here as boom 1 is on. Okay, you see that? So boom 1 off, boom 1 on. All right, boom. Now the other thing is, do you see how wide? No, yeah. Why is button 1 and 2 so wide and the other ones are skinny? Because that's the way it's set up. That's a visual orientation of how it's set up. So if you look at this and boom 1 is only this wide on the screen, it means that it's not set up, or it's probably not set up right? So when we go to boom 10, so I'm turning switch 10 on, boom 10 lights up.
Can you turn them on from that?
From this, no, you got to use the switch panel. Okay, so I hit boom 9, 9 and 10, they both light up, and so on. Okay, now let's start the pump up quick. You want to hang the bucket up on the thing?
I like that.
I just noticed that arrow right there. Looks like it's set up to spray off the left side.
That's what that arrow would mean.
Section set up. Yep, it's set on left. Okay, so I'm gonna hit right,
See if the arrow changes.
and then I go back, and now it's showing. Now it's showing that I'm spraying off the right side of the truck. If you close that door. Just hang it if it'll will. 40 pounds. I got 40 pounds on the pump. All right. So we're getting set up here quick to just do a calibration. So what we have is right here, it says, boy, I don't know how well we can see it on the screen. Right here it says target 50. What does that mean? Target 50 is we want to be 50 gallons an acre. Underneath it, it says off. What do you think it's going to say when I turn it on? Nope. It's going to say 30, 50, 70. It's going to tell us what we're spraying, what our rate is. Okay? So if I back up again here, all right, I'm going to turn boom 10 on. Ready?
I think that was boom 9. We didn't spray anything all over.
Do we have any pressure?
It was at 40.
But get something out of it. Yeah, it's starting to go now.
So it's only showing 17. Something's wrong.
It's set at 40.
What is going on here? Are the valves open? The boom valves across the top?
The bottom belts are the North Star. The other ones are open.
That is more force now. More pressure.
So it's only flowing at 15 gallons an acre. And it sounds like it's barely coming out, right? So we've got some sort of a mechanical issue here. Well, for the purposes of this video, let me show you a couple of things. It says no job because we didn't give it a job name, okay? It says 0 acres treated so far, but we've used half a gallon of fluid. We can hit fill tank at any time. The other thing that you should be aware of is this button that says track it. If you hit track it, I'll give you an email and a password to enter. And by doing that, the iPad will download this information live to the cloud so that we're saving everything that occurs with this. Okay? So I'll get you guys an email and a password to do that with. Let's go back to this. Alright, I'm going to shut this video off for a minute and try to figure out what's going on, but you can see what's happening here. When I turn boom 9 on, it should go right to 50 gallons an acre, and it's only going 15 gallons an acre, so we got some sort of a problem with this.